Most small business owners shop for HR software the same way. They open a tab, type best HR software for small business into a search engine, and skim the top 5 articles. The articles all recommend the same 6 or 7 tools, but they rank them differently and give different reasons. So the owner picks whichever option looks cheapest and easiest to set up. Then 6 months in, they discover the tool they picked was built for a completely different kind of business than theirs. The search itself is the problem. Best HR software for small business sounds like one product category. It is actually 4. Most of the tools that come up in that search are built for one of the 4 categories and are quietly wrong for the other 3, which is why honest comparisons feel so contradictory. So we pulled live pricing from every major HR platform in 2026, worked through thousands of comments across the small business community online, and broke down what real owners say after 6 months or more of actually using each tool. The pattern that came out of that research has a clean shape, and it identifies the right tool for any small business in a few minutes of focused thinking. By the end of this video, you will know which of the 4 HR software categories actually fits your business, which 1 or 2 tools own each category, and what the annual cost math looks like for a team your size. The 6 tools on this comparison are Gusto, BambooHR, Rippling, Justworks, Deel, and OnPay, and the honest pattern is more useful than any ranking list. 4 criteria sort the 6 tools into those 4 categories. Every platform on the list claims the same baseline features, including direct deposit, tax filing, employee self-service, and onboarding. So the criteria that separate one tool from another have to come from what happens once the platform is in daily use. They come from what real owners say about each tool across small business communities online, and they come down to 3 questions. The first question is about team size, because the right tool at 8 employees is rarely the right tool at 50. The second question is about geography, both across U.S. states and across borders, because multi-state filing fees and international hiring add costs that the headline pricing never shows. The third question is about compliance, specifically how much of the legal and tax burden the platform should absorb on behalf of the business owner. The first criterion is pricing transparency at the small team floor, which means the actual monthly cost for a 5 to 15 person team, not the marketed per employee headline number. Hidden implementation fees and base fee floors that punish micro teams show up in almost every community discussion, and they are the single biggest source of buyer's remorse. The second is HR first versus payroll first architecture. Some tools are built around running payroll well, with HR layered on top. Others are built around managing people first, with payroll as an add-on. The right answer depends on which problem is more urgent for the business right now. The third criterion is how much of the compliance burden the tool absorbs. And this separates 3 very different models. Some platforms give compliance guidance, meaning they flag issues and the owner fixes them. Others provide compliance shielding through co-employment, which means the platform legally shares liability for tax filings and employment law. And some platforms become the legal employer of record in foreign countries, taking on the full entity responsibility for international staff. The fourth criterion is the scaling path, because every tool has a personality that changes as the business grows. A platform that feels perfect at 8 employees can become a bottleneck at 30, and a platform that feels overpowered at 15 employees can become essential at 50. The right tool is the one that still fits in 18 months, not just on day 1. Those 4 criteria together resolve into the 4 categories the search assumes do not exist. Before the deep dive, here is the full landscape in 30 seconds. Gusto is the payroll-led all-in-one with the smoothest onboarding for new businesses. BambooHR is the HR-first system of record for teams who care about culture and people management before payroll. Rippling is the unified workforce platform that combines HR, IT, and finance for tech-forward companies. Justworks is the streamlined professional employer organization that bundles payroll with health insurance and compliance liability. Deel is the global gateway designed for any business hiring across borders or paying international contractors. And OnPay is the flat rate budget anchor with the deepest support for industries that other platforms treat as edge cases. Gusto is the default recommendation across small business communities for a reason. The platform serves over 500,000 businesses, hit $1 billion in revenue during 2025, and has consistently been described as the tool a non-HR person can actually run on a Sunday afternoon without calling support. The simple plan costs $49 per month base, plus $6 per employee, which works out to roughly $1,300 per year for a 10-person team. The Plus tier, at $80 base plus $12 per employee, adds workforce cost reports, time tracking, and performance reviews. The Premium tier, at $180 base plus $22 per employee, adds a dedicated account manager and priority support. The standout in 2026 is the depth of artificial intelligence integration. Gusto launched a native ChatGPT app at a Claude integration in late 2025, and as of early 2026, roughly half of all support interactions on the platform are handled by AI. The cost of that automation has been passed through as feature velocity, with 75 new features released in the spring 2026 showcase. The biggest limitation shows up around the 50 to 100 employee threshold. Business owners scaling past that headcount consistently describe administrative bottlenecks in the small business community because the platform was built around a simpler permission model and lighter or hierarchy controls than mid-market needs. The simple tier also has thinner live support compared to mid-market competitors. OnPay sits in the budget anchor slot of this comparison because the value per dollar ratio is the cleanest in small business HR. The pricing is one plan, $49 per month, plus $6 per worker, and the first month is free. A 10-person team pays roughly $1,250 in the first year, which makes it competitive with Gusto simple on price, while including features that Gusto charges for at higher tiers. The standout is multi-state coverage at no extra charge. Every other platform in this comparison either charges per additional state, treats multi-state filing as a pro tier upgrade, or quotes custom pricing. OnPay includes all 50 states in the base plan. The second standout is industry-specific depth, with native support for restaurant tipped wages, agricultural payroll, church clergy housing allowances, and nonprofit specifics that confuse general-purpose platforms. The biggest limitation is that the HR features are functional, but not the strongest in the category. Performance reviews, employee engagement surveys, and advanced analytics are all available, but not as polished as BambooHR or Rippling. For a small business where the owner runs payroll personally and HR is a smaller priority, OnPay is the right tool. BambooHR comes up almost universally in small business community discussions when the question is about HR software for a team of 20 to 50 people. The reason is that BambooHR is the cleanest HR-first system of record in the market for small business buyers. The pricing has 3 tiers, with Core at $10 per employee per month, Pro at $17, and Elite at $25. Volume discounts apply automatically as headcount grows, and registered nonprofits receive an additional 15% off. The most important pricing detail is the floor. For teams with 25 employees or fewer, the pricing switches to a flat $250 per month minimum. A 10-person team on Core does not pay $100 per month, which the per employee math suggests. The team pays $250 per month, which works out to $3,000 per year. That floor is the single biggest reason micro teams skip BambooHR in favor of Gusto or OnPay. The standout is the AI assistant called Ask BambooHR, which now handles roughly 80% of routine employee questions about paid time off, policies, and the company handbook. The April 2026 release added AI-powered goal creation, which transforms rough one-on-one notes into structured performance goals. For a culture-led organization where the HR generalist's time matters, these features are real productivity gains. The biggest limitation is that Payroll is an add-on module, not part of the base price. A BambooHR customer who also needs payroll and time tracking typically pays 30 to 50% more than the marketed per employee cost. Implementation fees can run between 5 and 15% of the annual contract value, which is uncommon in small business software. The rippling architecture is what separates it from every other tool in this comparison. And the deep dive has to start there. Rippling is built on a unified employee data graph, which means onboarding a new hire automatically provisions their laptop, sets up their Slack and GitHub and 1Password accounts, configures their corporate spend limits, and runs their payroll, all from the same workflow. The platform integrates with over 500 applications natively, and the AI layer can run cross-domain queries like comparing sales commission payouts against Salesforce activity and laptop hardware spend. That kind of unification earned Rippling a 4.8 rating on G2. The pricing model is modular, which both helps and hurts. The required Rippling Unity core platform starts at $8 per employee per month, plus a $35 monthly base fee. Each additional product adds its own per employee fee. The US payroll module runs around $8 per employee, IT management around $8 to $10, and other modules each carry their own pricing. A realistic mid-market stack with 4 to 6 modules typically lands between $20 and $40 per employee per month, with volume discounts of 15 to 25% at scale. The biggest limitation is what the community calls modular creep, where the $8 per employee marketed price becomes $34 to $57 per employee in real configurations. Implementation runs 4 to 8 weeks, compared to Gusto's 1 to 2 day setup. Startup founders in the small business community consistently flag a concern about Rippling's support quality dropping once the onboarding phase ends, especially for teams that bought the platform under the promise of unified payroll and IT. Justworks costs more per employee than every other tool in this comparison, and the price buys something fundamentally different. The PEO basic plan runs $79 per employee per month with no base fee, and PEO Plus runs $109 per employee per month. A 10-person team on PEO Basic spends roughly $9,500 per year, and on PEO Plus spends roughly $13,000 per year. Those numbers look expensive next to Gusto's $1,300 per year until the bundle gets unpacked. The standout is the co-employment model itself. Justworks legally becomes a co-employer of record, which means the platform shares liability for tax filings, employment law compliance, and worker classification. A 10-person business is its own insurance pool, with high variance and high premium and age-rated pricing. Pooling that team with thousands of other Justworks clients grants access to large group health insurance rates, which the same carrier prices at roughly 40% less than the same coverage purchased directly. The premium also covers a benefits broker, a 401k administrator, workers' compensation administration, and multi-state compliance, which would otherwise require hiring or contracting 4 separate services. The biggest limitation is rigidity. Justworks runs on a standardized policy framework, and businesses that grow past 50 employees with custom benefits or specialized compliance needs frequently outgrow the PEO model. The integration list is also thinner than the rest of the field, with QuickBooks, Xero, and a limited handful of third-party connectors. Even small businesses now hire across borders, which is the reason Deel earns a spot in a small business comparison at all. Deel covers employer of record services in over 150 countries, and the platform offers a modular set of products that can be assembled to fit very specific configurations. The pricing is structured by product. Deel HR Core is $5 per employee per month, which is a recent and important correction from older information sources that described Deel HR as free. The Recruit module runs $14 per employee, Develop runs $22, and the premium tier runs $30. U.S. Payroll runs approximately $19 per employee per month and is quote-based. U.S. PEO runs $125 per employee per month. Employer of Record services for international employees run $599 per employee per month at the standard tier and $899 at the enterprise tier. Contractor management runs $49 per contractor per month. The standout is the real-time gross-to-net engine, which handles late edits and rate corrections during the payroll cycle without requiring a full rerun. The platform also offers some of the strongest contractor management tooling on the market for businesses paying workers across multiple countries. The biggest limitation for small business owners is the capital lock. Deel requires a 1-month gross salary deposit for every international hire, held in escrow until 30 days after offboarding. A small business with 10 international hires earning $7,500 per month each is locking up $75,000 of working capital. Deel also applies a foreign exchange markup of roughly 0.6% to 2% on cross-border payments, which is often not itemized on the invoice. For a pure U.S.-only small business with no global ambitions, Deel is overpriced compared to Gusto or OnPay. The 4 criteria from earlier produce a clean side-by-side, and the pattern is more useful than any single tool's score. Gusto and OnPay win on pricing transparency with no base fee surprises and no hidden floors. BambooHR loses points there because of the 25-employee flat rate floor. Rippling looks cheap at first glance, and the modular creep moves real-world costs into the $30 to $50 per employee range. Justworks is expensive but transparent. On compliance burden, Justworks is the only tool that legally shields the business through co-employment. Deel provides full entity coverage internationally and a partial PEO domestically. The other 4 tools provide guidance, which means flagging issues for the owner to resolve. On scaling, Rippling has the most headroom, Justworks has the most rigidity past 50 employees, and BambooHR has the smoothest volume discount curve. The reason this comparison resolves cleanly is that the 6 tools are not competing for the same buyer. They fall into the 4 HR software categories that the search collapses into. 1, and each category wins a different scenario. The right move is matching the business to the category first, then to the tool within that category. The payroll-led category is the right starting point for any 1 to 25-person business that has never run formal payroll, where the owner wants to be live within 48 hours and budget is a primary constraint. Gusto Simple is the default pick in that category, with a year 1 cost around $1,300 for a typical 10-person team. For the same size business with complex industry-specific payroll needs, including restaurants, dental practices, kitchen remodeling companies, or churches, OnPay is the budget-conscious alternative in the same category. With deeper industry coverage and free multi-state filing, the HR-led category is the right starting point for a 25 to 50 employee business that has hired an HR generalist and needs a system of record before payroll, where culture and performance management matter more than the cheapest possible base price. BambooHR is the dominant tool in that category once the team crosses the 25-employee threshold and the volume discount math starts to favor the platform. The unified workforce category is the right starting point for a 20-plus employee technology startup that values unified HR, IT, and device management on a single data graph. And that has the operational maturity to absorb a 4 to 8 week implementation. Rippling is essentially the only serious option in that category for the small business market. The managed employment category is the right starting point for a 5 to 50 employee business operating across 2 or more states, where the goal is a single per employee number that includes health insurance broker work, compliance liability transfer, and full benefits administration. Justworks is the streamlined PEO option that replaces hiring 4 separate vendors. The same managed employment category also covers Deel for any business with even 1 international employee or contractor, or with plans to hire across borders within the next 12 months. For the majority case, which is a single-state U.S. small business with under 25 employees and no international ambitions, the payroll-led category is the answer, and Gusto Simple is the default tool inside it, with OnPay as the budget alternative. For the most common starting point, which is choosing Gusto for a new small business with no current payroll provider, the path is simple. Sign up at gusto.com and choose the simple plan to start. Enter the business EIN, the team's addresses, and the year-to-date payroll information if migrating from another provider. Connect a business bank account for direct deposits. Run a test payroll with one employee to verify the setup, and confirm tax filings are scheduled. Most teams complete this in 20 to 30 minutes, and the first real payroll runs the following pay period. The biggest friction point in any HR software switch is migrating year-to-date payroll data, because mid-year transitions require careful handling of tax payments already filed under the prior provider. Gusto, OnPay, and BambooHR all assign a dedicated transition specialist for migrations, which removes most of that risk. The best time to switch is at the start of a calendar quarter, and the cleanest switch happens at the start of the calendar year. For most small businesses with under 25 employees, Gusto Simple is the strongest overall pick because the pricing is transparent, the setup is fast, and the platform handles the vast majority of small business HR needs without over-engineering. For businesses outside that majority case, the scenario walkthrough earlier in this video already points at the right tool in the right category. Most of these platforms offer free trials. Gusto and OnPay offer the first month free, and BambooHR and Rippling offer free demo periods after signup. Several of the links in the description below are referral links which cost nothing extra and help support this channel. Rippling does not currently offer the kind of referral arrangement the other tools on this list do, so the Rippling recommendation here is on merit alone. OnPay's referral arrangement is also modest compared to the others, which is worth disclosing because the tool is still the right answer for plenty of viewers. And that recommendation is not driven by the link economics either. The deep dive comparisons for several of these tools are available on this channel, including Justworks versus Deel for businesses weighing the PEO route, and BambooHR versus Workday for teams considering an upgrade path. Which tool is your business currently using? Drop a comment with the team size and the biggest pain point with the current platform.